Join us for a lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. Welcome to A-State Connections on KASU and ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves, News Director with KASU Public Radio, and the host of A-State Connections, the radio show on KASU. The Fowler Center on the campus of Arkansas State is a busy place this time of year, with exhibits taking place at the Bradbury Art Museum to numerous productions and concerts. There is something for everyone at the Fowler Center. And in this edition of A-State Connections, we'll talk about the Fowler Center and also about the next production of the A-State Theater season, Little Women. Joining me in this first segment of the show is a new director of the Fowler Center, Dallas Martinez, and assistant professor of theater and dance at Arkansas State, Brianna Larson. And in the second segment of the show, we'll talk to sophomore theater major Haley Reed about her role in Little Women. Dallas and Brianna, thank you both so much for being here. Welcome to A-State Connections.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
So I want to, first of all, talk about how you all came to Arkansas State. And Dallas, I'll start with you, please.
Sure. I was looking for a place to advance my administrative skills as well as my artistic and creative skills. And so through that search, there was a really interesting and unique opportunity here at A-State for the current position that I have. And I came and interviewed and met wonderful people on campus and amazing theater faculty. And I thought, well, maybe I'd fit in here and try to see if I can grow professionally and artistically. And they gave me the job, and I think it's going well.
Yeah, at least you haven't been told any different, at least for right now, you know.
I don't check my messages.
Well, we'll see how it goes, a couple months down the road,
Right.
and all that. Brianna, welcome as well. I want to ask you about how you came to Arkansas State.
Similar story of job hunting as I was finishing my grad school career. And one of the places that I got to luckily have an invite to come on campus and do a teaching demonstration, meet with students as well as faculty and administration was here. And it felt like the right fit of the different options I was looking at. The students here were very eager and hungry for more dance and movement in the program. The faculty were very excited, or seemed to be, and that is what I came to find when I came, to just add to their family of faculty and grow what we could do and offer class-wise and production-wise. So
That's fantastic. Dallas, I wanted to ask you about the Fowler Center itself. What is it about the Fowler Center for people who maybe it's been a while they've been in, or maybe they're new to Jonesboro and Arkansas State, they've never been? What makes the Fowler Center such a great place to be able to take in performances like Little Women?
Well, the Fowler Center in itself is, as I described before, is a diamond in the rough, I feel, for Jonesboro, not just for Arkansas State. It's a unique center that has one side performative for live events, as meaning theater or speakers, and the other side for musical events. And the house on both sides is as close as we can, technologically up to date, and it's beautiful seating. The acoustics in each area is just absolutely amazing. And then in between it, you just have this massive grand hall that has this beautiful chandelier that's hanging in the foyer, and it's just an amazing place to enter. You feel, or I personally feel when I enter it, I'm entering a very professional setting.
Sure.
that is honed to present something unique and amazing on either side of that hall that you decide to visit that night. Now, we want all of our people that visit us to go to all the productions and all the presentations that we have to get the full sense of what the Fowler Center can bring to their families and to their lives. And I think it's just a really unique opportunity for Jonesboro to have such a large space that's still intimate enough to move us in any way.
On the theater and dance side, what are the advantages to the Fowler Center, Brianna?
In addition to the two large theater spaces that Dallas spoke of, we also have a small black box space that we use for some performances, as well as a studio classroom space. And what's wonderful about it is that it has also been built to have accommodations for dance classes, not just other studio classes like acting and directing. So we have a sprung floor, which is really great for our bodies when putting them through all the rigors. And we have a wall on which we have mirrors along the whole wall and a curtain we can pull across it for any classes that aren't dance related, so that the mirror is there when we need it, but not when we do not. And the space is just so adaptable. So using it besides dance classes for acting, directing, devising work, anything, we can set it up for whatever needs we want, whether it's classroom or performative.
Fantastic. What are the goals, Dallas, that you have for the Fowler Center as we continue going through? Obviously, as we said, great place to be able to have that, but what are some of the goals that you would like to be able to do?
The goals I would like is I hear stories of the Fowler Center in yesteryears, and that's not just COVID, about what a staple it was for our community and how just over time and particularly with the pandemic, it's just sort of kind of dwindled into the back of minds of our community, and I want to bring that to the forefront of their minds. I'd like to create sort of a generational welcoming center that means that it's family friendly. So we're planning events across all facets that's going to be for the young and the young at heart, all the way through things that we remember from when we were children, or if you happen to be older, when you were a child's child. I don't know. I don't know if that works or not. But nonetheless, I'm looking to grow, and I'm looking for suggestions from the community as to things that they remember and they would like to see again, or things that we have not presented yet that I am open to. So a dynamic season all around is what I'm planning.
Yeah, and with that also, we're talking about, of course, it also is that home of the Bradbury Art Museum. What a great place to be able to go to.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The Bradbury Art Museum is in the Fowler Center, and the previous position that I held used to be sort of conjoined, where the person running the Fowler Center ran the center as well as the museum, and now that has been separated, where I am now over the entire space, and Bradbury is able to focus on their endeavors of growing within their own artistic field, which is wonderful.
But what a great partnership, though, to be
Yeah,
able to have that
absolutely.
great collaboration opportunities there. So, wanted to ask you, Brianna, about the upcoming performance that's going to be taking place. We're going to talk to Haley Reed here in just a little bit about her role in Little Women, but tell us about this, especially for people who may not be familiar with the play.
Okay. Um, there's so much to say. Where do I start? So I'll start just by saying that some people may be familiar in some sense with the story, whether it's from the book or one of the film adaptations or the TV show. However, the musical is different. It's its own adaptation. So bringing in those of you that don't have any sense of the story, the first thing I want to say is it revolves around family. So I feel like it's something anyone can find something in this story that they can relate to in their relations with family. For this particular story about family, it centers around a group of 4 sisters and sort of a bit of their coming of age. They start as preteens and teenagers, and then we see them get into their 20s. And, you know, they struggle with many of the things families struggle with, whether it's sibling rivalry or missing a loved one. Their father is off at the Civil War during part of this. And loss that happens, family wanting you to be something you're not. And then as they grow, what they discover of their dreams or of acceptance or love and joy through the extension of family, whether it's chosen or otherwise.
All right. Dallas, I know that you are happy to be able to have these performances. I know they add so much to what you all are able to do there at the Fowler Center.
Absolutely. It's great that art is alive, art is well, art is thriving, and it's growing, particularly because of the artistic passions that's on the side of the theater, but also the artistic passions that's side of our faculty as well as community when it comes to the music. On both sides of that, we are definitely creating, and we're here to hopefully welcome the audience in to see what we're creating, because I mean, most of us wouldn't be here if we didn't have some sort of exposure to whenever we were younger to the arts, and so we love to have that ability for our own community and to plant the seeds of our artistic endeavors, whether it's in dance or performance or music, because we won't be around to see the forest or the harvest, but we know that those seeds were planted, and we're happy to do that.
In Dallas, I know that, when you're talking about students that are, and we're going to talk to one of them, Brianna, here in just a second, seeing students doing what they do, just having them shine, that's really an additional benefit. To be able to be on there and be able to have that opportunity to be able to do a performance like Little Women.
Absolutely. Our students are absolutely phenomenal, and the things that we ask of them is just amazing of how they can muster and just arrive to the occasion. Because when we teach, particularly on the theatrical side, we teach a skill. We're teaching a hireable skill job. And normally the things that they're doing, they would be hired in that job. So they're doing the work, but they're also students. So they're still going to class. They're still getting all their other stuff done for their work to graduate, while still having this expectation of performance or production that we put upon them. And it's fascinating to watch them not just grow, but to just arrive into this professional setting and just be accomplished at it.
Mm-hmm.
Brianna, how has it been so far working with these students as y'all been working on Little Women?
It's been really lovely. We got to start the process a new way than I've done before, just doing some work as a cast and creating their ensemble using some techniques I learned when studying Chekhov, and just using and awakening their imaginations with knowledge of their character, but without using the text, and just living in themes of the show, so that they could come much more fully aware of who their character was and how they would respond in different situations, to then start playing and building the show. We did it very organically, which I know a lot of them hadn't gotten to experience before, letting a lot of those choices come from them. So that's been really fun. And we have a student who's our props master, so getting to work with him as he's designing props and us discussing the time period, and he's building things and pulling things. And just as Dallas was saying, it's just wonderful seeing some of them, coming into the ownership of and taking it and running with it, whether it's acting or designing or any of that.
We are excited to continue talking about this, and we will continue with this. Dallas Martinez is director of the Fowler Center. Brianna Larson is also the assistant professor of theater and dance at Arkansas State University. As we're going to continue talking about this, also we're going to bring in Haley. Haley Reed is going to tell us about what's going on here, and that'll be in the next segment of the show. We'll do that after this quick break.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Here to deliver the latest news on A-State sports, ranging from football, basketball, baseball, and more.
I'm your host, Tristan Harlan, alongside your other host, Cooper Melder.
Red Wolf Roundtable is your local sports source.
Tune in to Red Wolf Roundtable to get your fix on sports talk and news.
At Arkansas State, we want you to go. Go where learning soars, takes flight, and rockets ahead. Go for experiences, internships, and scholarships. We want you to go. Become A-State Maine. Are you ready to go? Go.astate.edu for details.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And welcome back to A-State Connections on KASU and ASU-TV. In this segment, we're going to be talking about the next production of the A-State Department of Theater, Little Women. We started talking about this a little bit with Assistant Professor of Theater and Dance at Arkansas State, Brianna Larson. We're bringing into the conversation sophomore theater major Haley Reed. Haley, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about, well, first of all, tell us about yourself, if you don't mind, please.
All right. Well, I am a sophomore. I'm majoring in musical theater here. I'm 19. I'm from Bay, Arkansas. It's a little small town in between Jonesboro and Truman. And yeah, I just love it here.
How did you get into acting?
It's kind of funny because I didn't want to act in the first place. I knew I was creative, and I knew that I wanted to do something in the arts. And our first high school performance that we ever put on, I was originally working on props, and I got pulled into ensemble last minute, and my mom was like, she's a star. And so she signed me up for community shows, and that's when I really got a sense of what acting was, and I just really fell in love with it as soon as I started to actually put myself into it more and learning what it was about.
Yeah, and so how, and I know you were talking earlier, Brianna, about all the students. How is it like working with Haley, and tell us about her role in this?
So Haley plays Jo March in the show, who is seen as sort of the central character who all of this revolves around. It's a semi-autobiographical story, and so the author of the book, Jo, is sort of the character that relates to her the most. And so Haley and I hadn't gotten to work together on production before, I don't think. And she came into the audition and had some really fun stuff, and then she came into the callback and basically showed us that she was Jo March. And so we went with that, and we're excited to see what she would then bring to the table. And she's really been having fun and digging in and taking my notes and suggestions and running in different directions, as well as bringing her own thoughts to discuss with mine. As the director, you want that. While you're directing the show, I'll often say to the cast something my mentor said to me, that I'm directing the traffic, but you're driving the cars. And if you have actors that want you to drive their car as well, then you can't as well direct the traffic.
Yeah, sure.
So she's been a really great collaborator on that.
How long have you been preparing for this role, Haley?
Well, honestly, as soon as we figured out what shows we were doing, I read Little Women in high school, and I was in love with it then. And I knew there was a musical, but I wasn't as familiar with it. So I did a bunch of research, figured out the type of music that went with it, really studied the characters, and figured out which one I thought would work best for me and who I should go in for. And Jo was the one that stuck out to me the most, and I was like, I like her. And I knew that I could add some of my own little takes on it, and I was excited to play with it.
What was it about that role that you were like, okay, this is the one that I want to do?
She's so quirky, and she is the quote, like, I'm not like other girls. She really just sticks out. She's not quiet. She has this fire within her that can't be extinguished. And she really just pushes the boundaries. She speaks her mind, and she'll let everyone know it. She's just really fun, and I like that about her. I like that she was unique.
Right. What has been your most enjoyable part about this experience?
Oh, just working with my lovely cast members. Every single one of them are just so talented, and I honestly could not do my job without them. They just make it so much easier. We all really love each other, and we just live in the moment. And I think, like Brianna said before, we did so much work before actually like getting up on our feet and actually reading the scripts for our characters, and we formed a connection first, and I think that really helped as well, and that's been my favorite part.
What's been the most challenging part of this?
The music. The music, and just like learning all the harmonies. I know Jo for sure. She is the belter for sure. She sings high, and she's just singing the whole time. And I think just definitely mixing that with the blocking and remembering the words and just putting it all together and making this beautiful pie. And it's just been amazing, although it's been challenging.
Yeah, and from your side, Brianna, about that, what are the challenges that are involved in trying to put a musical together? Well, okay, so I know that's going to be a big question. It's a loaded question.
Just putting together a theatrical production at all, has its list of challenges. There are so many moving parts, moving pieces. What the audience sees most is the actors on stage, yes. Then there's the costumes they're wearing. We see those, and there's a whole bunch that goes into that, depending on how many costumes, how they get changed, when they get changed, is there time to change, how many extra from wardrobe crew do we need to help make a change, set changes, and those are just the things the audience sees. Then you've got all the sound happening that they hear. If it's a musical, we're adding live, musicians, and so we have someone live mixing all of the instruments and all the voices at once, each performance, backstage crew, our stage management team, who I think most people don't know about, but they're doing so much of the job, and when they do it well, we don't know they're there because they're, doing it so well. But
Right.
the number of moving parts when you add a musical, it just ups the ante, and there's that many more collaborators, which is great, but also that many more people involved to make sure communication's happening with, we're all on the same page. When we start to put things together, we have our Vondelprobe tonight, so we'll be going through the show with the band and everything for the first time. Adding the next layer, and then tech rehearsals, dress rehearsals. Yes, I could hang out for an hour and talk to you about the.
Yeah, exactly. I know we don't have time to go into that, but you're right though. These are things people don't really think about. Is all the behind the scenes work, all the practice. Are y'all like practicing every day?
We rehearse
for
about
this?
20 hours a week.
Wow. And so you're doing that, Haley, on top of class and everything else. I imagine that's also another challenge too.
Definitely. And just working out your schedule and finding time to eat, finding time to sleep. But it's all a part of the craft.
How long is the play, the musical?
It's about 2.5 hours, including intermission time,
Right.
is about what it's running right now.
So how long does it take you, Haley, to be able to memorize the lines, do all that? That would terrify me, is the line memorization part. Is that a hard part, or tell us about that?
Typically it is, but I think the way Brianna has let us learn our lines, we just go through it organically, like she said. And we go through it, we make different choices each time, and I think as we do it multiple times, you start to get like the hang of it, and this line happens when you move this way, or so on and so forth. So I think that really helps, just going through it organically and making different choices to help you memorize your lines, for sure.
Yeah, I know that's got to be a very challenging part of doing that, Brianna.
And I think for different performers, there's different techniques that work better for them.
Sure.
To get that in there.
So tell us about when people can come and see Little Women.
Brilliant. So we open next Friday.
No pressure.
We open next Friday, November 11th,
Yeah.
7:30 p.m. And we also have a matinee on Sunday the 13th at 2. And then the following weekend, Friday and Saturday night, that's the 18th and 19th, we also have 7:30 p.m. shows. You can call the box office, and I memorized the number for this. Let's see if I can say it right. 870-972-ASU-1.
Yeah.
You can go online to astate.edu/tickets, and through our central box office, you can purchase tickets. And you can also find links for that on the A-State Theater page as well.
Now we're going to have you back with more students as we go into the spring, because obviously you have about 4. You already done one production. You got Little Women, and then what's coming up in the spring?
In the spring, we will be doing Peter and the Starcatcher as our first show in the spring in February. And then we will be doing another musical called The Trail to Oregon that will be opening in April. And those will have 2 different faculty directing those, and so it'll be great.
Very good. And What do you enjoy most about this? Because I know it's extremely stressful. There's a lot of stuff going on, but what do you enjoy most about directing and leading this particular production?
About this particular production?
Yeah.
I think it comes back to what I said first about the show. I think the main thing I was able to connect with when I started sort of studying the production was family. And, oh goodness, I'm going to get teary-eyed. And just, whoo, my connection to my family.
Yeah.
I guess I have to stop because I guess they mean a lot to me.
Sure, right.
yeah.
And that's really the beauty about art is the connection that it draws. And I know that you have, something similar because you can relate to that as well, Haley.
Yes, of course. I grew up in a very small neighborhood in Bay, and going to a small school especially. And when I came to Arkansas State, I realized it was almost the same thing in the Fowler Center. It was just a very close-knit community, and it was super easy to just get along with everyone. And they were really welcoming. And with this cast particularly, I have never felt more close, and this is the best cast I've worked with by far. And I just love them to death, like family.
Yeah, very good. That sounds fantastic. Well, thank you both for coming up here today. We really appreciate y'all spending some time talking about Little Women. So Little Women is coming up, so check that out. That'll do it for this edition of A-State Connections. I want to thank my guests, Dallas Martinez, also Brianna Larson and Haley Reed. Also want to thank Instructor of Creative Media Production, Galen Perkins, and his students who are behind the scenes running the show. We talked about the importance of having students and people running the scenes. These students here do a fantastic job. Also, thanks to engineers Derek Herring and Clayton Holderfield for their help. And I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget, A-State Connections is heard Saturday mornings at 11 on 91.9 FM, KASU, and streaming on the KASU mobile app. And I'll see you here again next Wednesday at 1:30 for another edition of A-State Connections, the TV show. So long, everyone. Have a great day.